this video, we'll look at what's covered in the Little Lighthouse project box, the teacher's notes and the topics covered before trying our hand at coding the microbits. The project explores the history of Scottish lighthouses, the science and engineering within, circuits, renewable energy, sustainability and computer coding. The grapnel tray is full of components to explore and create various circuits to include within the model lighthouse. The Microbit computers introduce the children to coding and investigating automation. The teacher's notes are provided as a printed copy and also electronically on the green USB slap band. Included in the notes are suggested curriculum links as well as the ordering codes for all the components. Little Lighthouse is very cross-curricular and some schools have used it as a whole school topic, with the youngest children model making and the older children creating the circuits and coding the microbits. Microbits are small matchbox-sized computers that introduce coding to children in an easy, accessible way. This short video gives a useful overview.
It's really simple to get started with the BBC Microbit. You just need a microbit, a micro USB cable and a computer. The microbit is a piece of hardware, a tiny pocket-sized computer. To make it work, you have to tell it what to do by writing a computer program. Programs are called software. The micro USB cable is used to transfer the program onto the microbit. Let's have a look at it. On one side of the microbit you will see 25 LEDs arranged as a square to make a simple display. There are also two input buttons, button A and button B. On the other side you will see a reset button and a small socket to plug in a battery pack. We explore the processor and other features in further videos in this series. The microbit can only do what you tell it to do, so the first thing you need to do is write a program. You can use different programming languages to do this. For example, MakeCode, which works as a block and text editor, or the Python text-based editor. For beginners, MakeCode is a good place to start. We've selected some simple projects to help you. Choose one to get started.
We're now going to have a go at coding the microbits. First we'll look at the MakeCode interface. Please visit the makecode.microbit.org website shown here. Click on the new Project Plus sign and enter a name for your code. I'm going to call mine Flashing Heart. The MakeCode editor will appear. The colour-coded blocks will be familiar if you've previously used Scratch. The virtual microbit on the left-hand side allows the children to edit and test their programs even if they don't have an actual microbit. To get started, we will drag a Forever block from the Basic menu into the Programming area. Next, drag a Show LEDs block, also located in the blue Basics menu, and snap it into the Forever block. Click to draw a heart pattern. Now from the Basic menu, drag a pause block. Snap it below the Show LEDs section and using the drop-down arrow, select a delay of 1 second. Placing another Show LEDs block, this time leaving everything unselected, and also an additional pause block, we will see on the left hand side our LEDs flash on and off, and we have created our flashing heart. In the next video, we will look at how we would transfer our program to an actual microbit.
Once you're happy with your program, it's time to try it out on your BBC Microbit. It's a simple two-step process. Step 1 is to download your program from the editor on your computer. In both the MakeCode and Python editors, your program needs to be downloaded as a hex file. Step 2 is to transfer the program from your computer to your microbit, where it is stored in its memory. We call this flashing because the microbit stores your program in its flash memory. To do this, plug your micro USB cable into the USB port at the top of your microbit. Then, plug the other end of the cable into the USB socket on your computer. You will see your microbit appear on your computer like a USB drive. Look for Microbit. As the program is copying across, you'll see the light flash on your microbit. Then once it stops flashing, you can test out your microbit creation.
Plug the USB of the download cable into a USB slot on your computer. Attach the other end into the microbit. On the Make Code Editor website, click the Download button at the bottom of the screen. The hex file will appear in your download folder. You can drag and drop it to copy it into the microbit location. When the transfer is complete, the microbit folder will appear, but the hex file name isn't displayed. This is normal. As an alternative to dragging the hex file to the microbit folder, you can right-click and use copy and paste. With the code transferred, your microbit should now be displaying a flashing heart. Now the code is stored on your microbit, you can use the battery pack to power it. Here's a suggested activity. Challenge the children to code their favourite lighthouse pattern. The Northern Lighthouse Board website gives all the details. Next, we're going to look at coding the microbit to light an external LED. The longer leg of the LED goes to the positive wire attached to the pin marked 3V. The shorter leg of the LED goes to the negative wire attached to the pin marked 0. Follow the steps to create this code. On the virtual microbit, you should see pin 0 change from gold to orange to show it's turning on and off. Transfer your hex file as before. The microbit can only store one program at a time. Hopefully you have a flashing LED. If not, try switching the connections. They only work one way round. Check the battery box has the batteries correctly inserted and that the switch is on. Lastly, we're going to code our microbit to display a bar graph of the light level and sound a buzzer when it gets dark. Connect 2 crocodile clips to pin 0 and ground and then attach the speaker. Follow the steps to create the code. Notice on the virtual microbit there's a yellow slider on the top left corner to simulate different light levels. As you slide this about, the LED bar graph changes and the buzzer sounds on and off. Transfer the code to the microbit as before. My room was quite dark, so the buzzer sounded immediately. Shining a lamp over the microbit made it stop. These are some useful websites to give you inspiration for more microbit coding. The Microbit Foundation have set up Microbit Classroom, which can be useful for both teaching coding via whiteboard and remote learning.
The Microbit Educational Foundation created Microbit Classroom to make coding lessons easier to manage in school, but we think you could use it in conjunction with remote teaching tools. So if you're streaming a live lesson to a group of students who are at home, we think you can combine Microbit Classroom with your streaming tool to do a live coding lesson. I'm going to show you how that might work. First of all, you go to classroom.microbit.org and you set up your classroom session. You need to give it a name. I'm going to call it Name Badge. You can make your own project up here, or you can pick one of the many projects on our website and you can launch them straight into Microbit Classroom. You can teach them in MakeCode or Python. I'm going to choose Microsoft MakeCode for this because the advantage of that is that your students don't need a physical microbit at home with them. They can use the simulator in the MakeCode editor. So I've chosen my name, I've chosen my programming language. I'm now going to launch Classroom. It's very simple to set up. I'll just walk you through it very quickly. The first thing you do is go to the Editor tab. This is where you set up your starter code. You can use any code you like here. You can drag your own hex file in, you can write your own program, or you can have no code at all. But for the Name Badge project, I'm going to give my students a couple of blocks that I'm not going to stick together. They're going to have to work out how to make their name badge using these two blocks. Next thing I do is I share code with students. So I'm going to click on that. Now any student joining my lesson will get that starter code when they begin the session. The The next thing you do as a teacher is you go into the dashboard. These are the joining instructions for your Microbit Classroom session. Normally you just put this up on the screen in the classroom so pupils could join along, but they could do this at home. So if you share this information using your online streaming tool or chat or whatever, you could do a screenshot of it. As long as you get that information to your students, they can join your lesson. So we'll have a look at what it looks like from the pupil's point of view. They're going to need the classroom name, which is Lime, Dog, Airplane, Guitar. In this case, it'll change for every lesson. We need all this information to make sure that people don't join your lesson by mistake. So Lime, Dog, Airplane, Guitar. Now, in this browser window here, this is what the pupil will see. They've gone to join the lesson. So Lime, animal is dog. I think it was airplane, and the object was guitar. We're also going to need the pin, which is back on the teacher dashboard, 122529. So let's go to that, type that in, back on the pupil screen, 122529, and they click on continue. And as long as the teacher is still logged in, so the teacher is still in Microbit Classroom here, the pupil should be able to join the lesson. I'm going to type my name in. I'm going to be Sam. So this is now Sam's computer we're looking at. And Sam should see the starter code is there. There we go. Sam's got the starter code ready to make the name badge. And we can slot those together. So I'm Sam. I'm going to fit those together. We can see over here on the teacher screen that Sam's joined the lesson and Sam's in progress. And Sam can see the program running on the simulator, on the virtual microbit. Back on the teacher dashboard, we can see that Sam's in progress. And if the teacher now clicks on the student code dashboard, not only can we see all the students who are in the lesson, we can see what they're doing. We can see their code in real time. So I'm going to say to Sam, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to download a report at this point, so I can click on the download report button here. That will download all the students' code as a Word document. You can do that at any point in the lesson to get a record of where your students were and what they were doing. So I'm going to ask Sam now, I'm going to say, do something different. I want you to make your microbit scroll your name on the display when you shake it. So we're going to use different blocks for that. So we're going to pull those blocks apart. This is what the student's doing. Get rid of the on start block, and we'll use a different input block. We'll use the on shake block. Here we can see that even though the pupil doesn't have a physical microbit, they can still use some of the physical sensors and features of the microbit in the simulator by clicking on the shake button. We'll click on shake and we get the same effect. So we can now see that when Sam shakes their microbit, the name scrolls across the display. So back on the teacher dashboard, we can see that Sam has indeed done what they were asked. Now you can change the activity at any point in the lesson. So if we want to share some new code with the students, we can go back to the editor, say we're going to do something completely different now. We're going to do something with music. So I'm going to go to on start. I'm going to play a tune. We'll go to a music block. I'm just going to play a middle note, a middle C for one beat, and I want you to make a simple tune with that. So let's see what happens now. Sam, back on Sam's screen, has still got their code there. They can finish the lesson if they want. They can kind of put their hand up virtually and say, oh, I finished, and I'm feeling really happy about that. Back on the teacher dashboard, we can see that Sam has finished, but Sam, we want you to carry on. We've got another task for you. So I'm going to drop Sam back into the lesson. So I'm going to say that they're in progress. Apply changes, and back on Sam's screen we're now dropped back into the lesson. Now we've still got the same starter code we had at the beginning of the lesson. The teacher, am now going to share a new bit of code with everyone. So I've got my new activity here. I'm going to click on share code with students. I can choose at this point whether I send the code to all students or I can choose individual students. Maybe it's just Sam who needs to move on with the new activity, but I'm going to say it's all students and I'm going to send code. Now bear in mind that because I selected all code, it's going to wipe over the code that they've got in their editor. So I go back to Sam's screen. We've got a message. Your teacher has sent you some code. I've got the option here to use code. I'm going to click on that. And I've got the new starter code so I can get on with my new activity. Now, when you've wrapped up at the end of the lesson, you can ask your pupils again to say, I've finished, and say how they feel. Maybe I'm a little bit less confident about that one. Back on the teacher's screen, we go to the dashboard and we can see where we are. We can see that Sam has finished. And then this is where I can now save the classroom. So if I'm confident everyone's finished, I can download the whole classroom session as a single HTML file. You can save that wherever you keep your documents normally, and you can use that to resume the lesson at another time. Double click on the HTML file, it'll load it up in Microbit Classroom. Your students use the new pin and they can join the session afresh another time. You could do that anytime you want. So you can download the whole lesson that way as a single file. And then when you finish your session, click on End Session, and that will clear everything out of your browser. So everything is clean and ready for the next time. We hope you find Microbit Classroom useful for remote teaching. Bear in mind it is in beta, so there may be some glitches along the way, but we'd like to hear about that. We really want your feedback, so get in touch with us through our support channels. And if you want some ideas for activities to use in Microbit Classroom, there's a lot to choose from. Have a look on our remote teaching webpage. You'll find links there to lots of activities, resources, lessons that'll help you get going and should prove useful to you in setting up sessions for you and your pupils to use when you're teaching them remotely and they're learning at home.
On the 27th of May 2021, we will host an online celebration of Little Lighthouse, and we'd love you to join us and showcase your project work. On the 27th of January 2021, you are invited to attend a Teams meeting to discuss details of the online celebration as well as the feedback funding reporting. If you have any questions, please get in touch, and we'd love to see your progress on Twitter too.